we're going to now talk about slip, trip, and fall prevention. So, over 225,000 occupational injuries on average are caused by slips, trips, or falls. And when you look at statistical data, person that has a slip, trip, or fall, their worker comp costs because of the severity of their injury is one of the highest. In probably motor vehicle accidents is the first, but people, because what happens when we fall? Are we prepared to fall? No. So we'll have back injuries, broken bones, neck injuries, you know, some pretty significant issues can occur. So what are some of the causes of slips, trips, and falls? I like the fuzzy polar bear playing on the ice. So when we look at some of the major causes, again, we pool statistical data from worker comp injuries. 50% flooring, and what I mean by that is holes in carpets, tiles that have been lifted up and they haven't been repaired, transoms that might have, oh look, there's tape on this transom. You know, transition points, sidewalks outside, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Footwear, the choice of shoes that you wear. Do you have people wearing flip-flops, you know, shoes that are going to get stuck or caught? Failure to warn. I have a puddle, but I haven't put a yellow flag up to let somebody know that the floor is wet. Proper training. So believe it or not, it's important to be trained to know how to identify slips, trips, and falls. And unfortunately, fraud. There are people that will throw themselves down the stairs to try to get a worker comp claim, you know, and there's been lots of video footage where they look around, they don't think anybody's watching, whoop, they go down the stairs and they think they're going to have a claim there. So where do hazards lurk? Hallways. It was fun trying to find this room because I was thinking there's so many blind spots. Well, first of all, there's everything in the hallways right now, but that's okay. I understand that you're cleaning and whatnot. But a lot of blind spots, a lot of corners that I'm coming around, and I'm like, well, if this was a full hallway of people, there's a potential opportunity. Ladders, step stools, ramps, stairs, puddles, I could go on and on and on. So obstructions, clutter, wet and oily surfaces, weather. You guys are, you know, everybody's coming in from the outside, all that wet snow and ice and slush that gets brought into the building. Loose, unanchored rugs. You know, rugs are great for absorbing all of that water when it comes into the door, but is it the right kind? Is it weighted so that it stays down? Can I trip on it? Damaged flooring material, obstructed views. I kind of reiterated all that before. Poor lighting. How many times does someone go into a storage area? I know exactly what I need. I don't need to turn the light on. I know it's right over here. And then what do? They trip over something that somebody put onto the floor, but they don't see it because the lights weren't on. Uneven surfaces, cables and cords. Pretty much every time I come in and do training, I'm a trip hazard because I drape a cord across the floor. But I make sure it's orange so that you can see it at least. Open drawers and cabinets and standing on unstable objects. How many times have you seen someone stack boxes of paper up to use as a step stool to try to get to where they need to go? And let's not forget about not paying attention. So you can see here, what is this woman doing? She's holding her phone, looking down. There's a guy riding his bike, you know, right in front of her. And then the funny stairs, walk, run, and text, so that we have separate lanes for each.
From this angle, the two wide-open cellar doors look hard to miss. Surveillance video shows a PSE&G crew going down to do some work. Then minutes later, the woman appears down the block, walking straight towards the cellar. Right before she gets to the open door, she looks at her phone and flips headfirst into the basement, about 6 feet below.
6 feet.
You see two passers-by stunned, and the worker in the cellar rushed towards the woman. Others on the block quickly came to look, including a police officer who happened to be across the street. Patricio Romero works just feet away.
When somebody was telling me, it was, oh my God, it was unbelievable, you know?
So there's a couple different videos that we usually use for that section. You know, how many? That was actually in New Jersey. That wasn't too far away, Pensauken kind of area. But there was a woman in a mall in, was it Wyomissing? Anybody ever see that one? She's walking out of the store on her phone and she hits the fountain and she falls headfirst into the fountain. But the funny, she gets up and she's like, okay, nobody saw me fall into the fountain. She gets up and keeps walking. And we also have another video from a SEPTA train station where the guy was on his phone and he just fell right off the edge. And he fell down into the train tracks. And then you see like 7 people go and try and rescue him out. So distractions, holding those objects in your hands and not paying attention to where you're walking is very hazardous. So, uneven walking surfaces, 3/8 of an inch can cause someone to trip and fall. So think about that for your outside sidewalks and walking areas. Even stairs in older, I always reference like older buildings, older homes. Stairwells weren't necessarily built up to code. So you can go in and you can measure the rise of stairs. They're different by like maybe 1/2 inch. So your body naturally, when you're walking up a flight of stairs, you expect the rise to be at a specific distance. So when that differs, what happens? Whoa, you fall because your body isn't ready for it. Curbs, same thing. Some curbs are really higher than others, and again, we're not prepared for the height difference. And turning an ankle, if you step on an uneven surface. So I'm sure we could all reference some specific times from memory where you've happened to you or you've seen somebody else have this happen to them. So I talked before about the weather rugs. It's easier to see on my computer, but this area all here, it's all bunched up right where those doors open up. So you're going to walk in and you're going to trip over that bunched up rug there. Do we know anybody that has an office that looks like this? Cords and cables, manage them, tie them up, tack them up to furniture so that they don't look like this. I don't know why it's not playing, but there's a door here that goes into the basement, and there's the cashier standing at the desk. And the 2 people come and they're behind her. They open up the drop floor. She's doing her job, not paying attention. They didn't tell her, hey, Janet, we're right behind you and we've opened the door. So there's no communication about what's going on. And then she turns around to go to the cash register. Bloop, she goes right down the hole. So again, whoever said that, you jinxed my thing and it's not playing. So I'm not sure why that's not working. I'm having some technical difficulties. Maybe it's because it's Monday morning. I don't know. So safer for work, obviously identifying.
I want to know if anybody answered high heels before.
Yeah, right? This is a really good slide. I talk about this in schools. Now, again, my audience is a little different, but you guys are in the building during the course of the school year. You see teachers wearing high heels, flip-flops in the summer, sandals, things that won't necessarily be probably the most appropriate footwear for the job. So it's important to know what you're doing and what is going to be safe for you. So if you can't fix it immediately, alert people of the hazard. You guys have these cones and markers. It's important that you identify a wet floor area. And stairs. Every time I present this slide, I feel like I'm talking to my 8-year-old because it's like I really have to run. Yeah, so make sure that you tell, using handrails. You don't think about that. Running down the stairs, again, that's going to increase your chances. Slippery surfaces, damaged steps and treads. So once that tread edge at the step becomes damaged or broken down, that's a natural trip hazard. And don't store objects in stairwells. Just, the guy looks like he's tracking somebody pretty shady there, doesn't he?
Yeah, it kind of looks like he thinks his wife is cheating on him and he's coming home.
So, stairways and ladders.
I'm trying to keep myself awake here.
Do you guys use ladders? Yep. So just as a reminder, any stairwell, flights of stairs with 4 or more risers means steps, you must have a handrail. So if you have short little stairwells and there are 5 steps, doesn't have a handrail, put that on your list to make sure you put a handrail there, because handrails help you go up and down steps. Ladders, if you're using a straight ladder to gain access to a roof, above, not necessarily a roof, but even like a mezzanine area, a storage area. If it's a straight ladder, you should have 3 feet of that ladder above the top area. So if the top of your ladder just hits that, no, 3 feet above. Gives you stability. And then if a ladder is defective, and I say defective meaning, did it fall? Did it get hit? Is there a rung that's warped? Is it, when you look at it from the side, is it twisted? You know, anything that could have potentially damaged it, you have to mark it as dangerous, out of service, until you can correct the ladder and fix it. Because even if your ladder is twisted just ever so slightly and you put your body weight on it, you're going to reach the point where that twist is, and what are you going to do? You're going to make it twist more because the center of gravity of the ladder is off. And never use metal ladders near live electrical equipment. So here's just more information about any type of ladder. Level surfaces. We don't ever want to have our floor be off, off level. Angle your ladder appropriately using the 4-to-1 rule. And you can see in that diagram, the pitch of the ladder is 4 feet. So we have 16 feet of clearance to the top. Secure the bottom. And as I said before, extend it 3 feet above and anchor the ladder at the top. So in this situation, you want to tie it off so that it doesn't. What's that? Clark Griswold, Christmas Vacation. Do we remember that scene? Whee! He goes backwards because he didn't anchor off at the top.